TD passes and 0 interceptions are tied for the second most in a single season in NFL history. 2 of the previous 3 quarterbacks with 5 such games won MVP that season. All right, let's bring Marcus Spears back in. Marcus, Trubisky making his first start since week 3. What did he show you to make you believe that he's a long-term solution in Chicago?
Jay, you know damn well I'm not going to come on here and tell you how dapper you looking with that fire on you got today. First
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you so much.
I'm complimenting 2 of my favorite people on SportsCenter. But listen, Jay, now we go negative, all right?
All right.
What the hell did we think Mitchell Trubisky was? This is who he is. And you two know me as well as anybody when it comes to us talking about football. Believe your eyes. Believe what things are telling you. There was this figment of imagination that when Nick Foles was struggling, that Mitchell Trubisky was going to come in and save the Chicago Bears. This is the guy. This is who he is. And look, you can tell me he's been off and all of these things. Those throws in the double coverage down the field, the fumbles, and then triple coverage for another interception, that's who Mitchell Trubisky has told us he is for a while in this league since he's been playing in Chicago. That's why another quarterback had to play. It's unfortunate. And Matt Nagy carries some of the blame because obviously our gurus at quarterback like Darren Orlovsky have talked about putting Mitch in a better situation. We've talked about how guys should have been drafted before him. Here's the bottom line, okay? And everybody needs to accept this harsh reality. Mitchell Trubisky is not a good quarterback. That's what it is. And I know we try to get on these shows and we try to find silver linings and what a guy can do and all of that. And yes, there is time to do that. But I remember this same narrative, Jay, with Marcus Mariota. At some point, we have to believe what these guys are showing us time and time again. So the Bears are in search of a new quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky is who we thought he is. And Nick Foles was an upgrade because he just was going to take care of the ball a little bit more, but not add anything extravagant to that offense. The Bears are back where they were before they drafted Mitchell Trubisky too early, and that's in need of a quarterback.
Bars. All you needed was a beat, and that would have been something, bruh.
That's it.
After all of that, Chicago is still a game out of the final wild card spot currently held by the Cardinals, Bears, and Lions this Sunday. Why are you laughing? Why you got to laugh at that?
Because we still got a damn team in the NFC East that's going to make the playoffs.
Bruh. Yeah, we'll talk about that
2020,
later.
Jay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now the organization has a lot of work to do. That's an accurate statement right now because in 3 years, what was trending to becoming a consistent winner has been torn down. What do they do next? I'd say this, Z. The first, and I think the next real move is making their decision on Matthew Stafford. And Matthew's a friend of mine, and I don't say these words lightly. I think it's time to move on from Matthew Stafford. I think that's justifiable on both parties because the Lions are not just, hey, let's hire a coach and see if we can fix this away. Because Matthew's going into, I believe, which is going to be his 13th season, maybe his 14th season. It did not work in Detroit. And so they've got to make the decision to move on from Matthew Stafford, trade him, and build for the future because it is now a rebuild. Because everybody that's on that football team player-wise is very much custom fit for what Matt Patricia wanted to do. So I think that's the next real decision that the Lions organization needs to make. The second thing is this. Don't fall in love with just an X's and O's guy. I know everybody wants Sean McVay. He's a unicorn. You better go find a leader, someone that has foresight, someone that understands that city, someone that understands the frustration of that city, and someone that can organize and galvanize and distribute responsibility. And the head coach has got to bring somebody that's got great X's and O's. Offensively, we are in an era of football that you need to be outstanding at it. So hire somebody that has foresight at that position. They've got to bring an offensive-minded or a great offensive-minded offensive coordinator with them. Obviously, a good defensive coordinator, but it needs to be a rebuild mode, and that's where the Lions are.
Indeed. A dozen seasons in the league. Next year will be year 13 somewhere, whether it's Detroit or elsewhere. Dan, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great stuff, D.O.
All right, Dan.
Key, just for 1 minute, I got to get your opinion on Stafford. Also, big story percolating in Detroit. Rumors are rumors. Hey, there is a college coach in Ann Arbor that's proven himself to be a really good coach in the NFL. You can connect the dots there if you want. A lot of people in Detroit are talking about that. That may be fantasy. But would you move on from Stafford?
I probably would, because he has some value for somebody out there. And, you know, we don't need to be trying to get a top 5 pick and all that unnecessary nonsense, but get some value for him, depending on what the salary cap hit is, and then move on and rebuild the whole entire situation. Because much like Dan said, what has happened is Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn made a decision to build a team a certain way. And now the new head coach and the new front office have to come in and see what players could fit the system that they will employ now. And if Matt's part of it, then great. And if not, then we can move on from it.
Indeed. We're moving on from last place to first place in a division in a span of 3 weeks. And boy, does Key like reminding me of that. That's coming up after SportsCenter. You probably know the deal. Broncos quarterback Jeff Driscoll testing positive for the coronavirus on Thursday. His close contacts, quarterback Drew Lock, quarterback Brett Rippon, and the practice squad quarterback Blake Bortles, were put into isolation because of their close contact being in and around the quarterback room with Driscoll. As for Drew Lock, the quote-unquote franchise quarterback, he did say yesterday an honest mistake, but one I will own. I sincerely apologize, and I fully understand why these safety precautions are so important. Doing the right thing for a majority of the time is not good enough. We should add the NFL investigated and found out that when the Broncos quarterbacks were asked about whether they were wearing a mask, they were initially not forthcoming, which is another reason many people believe the league said, okay, if you're going to lie to us after the fact, you're going to play this game. If you're wondering, the Broncos can't sign another quarterback and play him on Sunday. When you sign a guy, you got to wait about 6 days to make sure they can go through all the testing. With all of that said, let's bring in Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, spent a dozen years under center.
Dio.
And he joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Dio, good morning. I just kind of set the scene there in this debacle for the Broncos. Who's to blame for all this?
The Broncos quarterbacks. This one bothers me so much, Z, because, you know, as a young backup quarterback, you pray to God for the opportunity to get on the field in the NFL. Because a lot of times for backup quarterbacks, it's about, you know, catching a lucky break. Like, you just get the opportunity to get on the field. And you don't have any idea what one game can do for your career. I mean, imagine Matt Flynn. Remember years ago, Matt Flynn got to play for the Green Bay Packers, and all of a sudden, he got a ton of money because he balled out against the Lions, and he gets a huge free agent contract from the Seattle Seahawks. You don't know what one game can do. And all the time, you're getting ready for that moment, for you just to catch your break. And now you don't get it, Brett Rippon. And now Blake Bortles, a guy that's trying to get back into the NFL, you don't get that break because you can't follow simple protocol. Like, you can't be an adult and do exactly what gets told to you by the NFL. And you did let your football team down. And you did let yourselves down because you couldn't do something that you thought wasn't that big a deal. Drew Lock, I'm supposed to give you the keys to my franchise. I'm supposed to believe that you can be a billion-dollar CEO and you can follow simple protocol. I don't care if you like it. I don't care. That's what is getting told for you to do by the people upstairs. And now you missed out on your opportunity to get on the field, Brett Rippon. And Blake Bortles trying to get back in the NFL, you missed out on your opportunity because you couldn't do that. And you can't go home now and tell your buddies or tell your girlfriend or tell your wife, I just needed a chance. I never got my chance. Yeah, you did. You had your chance. I don't care how the opportunity presented itself. You had your opportunity and you blew it because you couldn't follow simple guidelines. And that's on them. And I feel bad for the Broncos as an organization that now this brings the biggest question to mind for me when it comes to Drew Lock. How can I trust you with my franchise when I can't trust you to do things that you don't want to do? And so I feel bad for them as an organization, but that's on those players. They completely failed. Those quarterbacks completely failed their organization, and they failed